A CEO's son vanishes without a trace. The police are stumped. The FBI hits dead ends. But the person who cracks the case? A brand new employee who started work just 3 days ago. And her secret? It's darker than anyone imagined. You think you know your coworkers, right? The guy in accounting, who always eats lunch alone. The woman from HR, who remembers everyone's birthday. That quiet new hire who just joined the team and keeps her desk perfectly organized. But what if I told you that sometimes the most ordinary people are hiding the most extraordinary abilities? What if that person sitting next to you once saved lives for a living? What if they walked away from everything they were good at because of one case that went horribly, devastatingly wrong? This is the story of how one person's buried past came back to save a life. And it all started with a phone call at 3:17 a.m. that changed everything. But first, let me tell you about the family that thought they were untouchable. Jennifer Chen didn't just build a company. She built an empire. Tech Vision started in her garage 15 years ago with a single patent for data compression. Today, it's worth $2.8 billion. She's the kind of CEO who remembers every employee's name, who built child care centers in her offices, who donated millions to local schools. But success makes enemies, and Jennifer had no idea that someone had been watching her family for 3 years, planning, waiting, calculating the perfect moment to strike. Marcus Chen, 24 years old, MBA from Stanford, was everything a CEO's son should be. But here's what made him special. He was everything a son should be too. Every Sunday, he'd show up at his mother's office with homemade sandwiches. Even CEOs need lunch breaks, Mom. They'd sit on her office floor eating PBJ like he was still 8 years old. When Jennifer worked late, Marcus would fall asleep in her office chair just to keep her company. When she had nightmares about losing the company, he'd remind her, "We built this together. We'll protect it together." He jogged every morning at 7:30 a.m. Same route, same time. But he always called his mother at exactly 8 a.m. "Good morning, sunshine. Ready to conquer the world?" That habit was about to become his nightmare. Tuesday morning, 7:47 a.m. Marcus leaves his downtown apartment for his morning jog. The doorman waves goodbye. Security cameras capture him, turning the corner. 8:15 a.m. His girlfriend Sarah receives a text. "Running late. See you tonight." 8:30 a.m. His assistant calls. Marcus missed his first meeting. He never misses meetings. 9:45 a.m. His car is found in a parking garage 12 blocks from his apartment. Keys still in the ignition. Phone dead on the passenger seat. But here's what the police didn't notice immediately. The security camera in that garage hadn't been working for exactly 47 minutes. Jennifer Chen has faced corporate espionage, hostile takeovers, and market crashes. She's testified before Congress, survived 3 assassination attempts from business rivals, and once worked 36 hours straight to save a failing acquisition. But at 8 a.m. that Tuesday, when her phone didn't ring with Marcus's daily "Good morning, sunshine" call, she knew something was wrong. By 8:15 a.m., she was calling him. Voicemail. 8:30 a.m. Still voicemail. 8:45 a.m. She's driving to his apartment, breaking every speed limit. This was the woman who'd built an empire, who'd never shown weakness in 30 years of business. But when Detective Martinez called about her son, she collapsed in the parking lot of Marcus's building. "Mrs. Chen, we need to talk. It's about your son." In that moment, the most powerful woman in tech became just another terrified mother, clutching her phone like a lifeline to the only person who'd ever called her sunshine. The FBI creates a specialized task force. Agent Rebecca Torres, expert in high-profile kidnappings, takes the lead. They analyze traffic cameras from 47 different locations, interview 300 people, trace financial records going back 5 years. They discover Marcus received 3 anonymous gifts in the past month. A coffee mug, a running watch, and a keychain. All untraceable. All containing GPS trackers. Someone had been studying him, learning his patterns, preparing. Days pass. Then weeks. The media frenzy is relentless. CEO's son vanished. Tech billionaire's nightmare. The perfect crime? Jennifer offers a $5 million reward. Tips flood in. All dead ends. Day 18. 11:23 p.m. Jennifer is sleeping in her office again, clutching Marcus's Stanford graduation photo. She hasn't been home since he disappeared. The call finally comes. Mrs. Chen? Yes, do you have my son? Is he okay? Please, I need to know if he's $5 million. Tomorrow. Pier 47. Come alone. Wait, please, I need to know he's alive. He calls me every morning at 8. He calls me Sunshine. Ask him what he calls me, please, I'm begging you. Click. Jennifer stares at the phone, tears streaming down her face. She whispers to the empty room. Good morning, Sunshine. Where are you? But Agent Torres noticed something. Background noise. A train whistle at exactly 11:25 p.m. She checks train schedules. Only one train runs that route at that time. They're getting closer, but they're also running out of time. Meet Sarah Kim, 3 days on the job as a data analyst at Tech Vision. Quiet, unassuming, keeps to herself, arrives early, leaves late, eats lunch at her desk. She has the kind of face you forget 5 minutes after meeting her, which is exactly how she likes it. Most people barely notice her. But Sarah notices everything. She overhears conversations in the break room about increased security. She sees the CEO's sleepless eyes during company meetings. She watches how the security team moves differently now, how they check badges twice, how they escort visitors. And then, she hears something that makes her blood run cold. Day 19, 2:17 p.m. Sarah is microwaving her lunch when 2 security guards start talking. The FBI thinks it's about the Morrison case. Morrison? That was 3 years ago. Yeah, but his daughter, remember? She died waiting for surgery after Tech Vision bought out the medical center. That's a hell of a grudge. Sarah's sandwich drops to the floor. Her hands are shaking. She knows that name. David Morrison. Because 15 years ago, Detective Sarah Kim interviewed him about a different missing person, his neighbor's kid. She found the boy alive. Morrison had thanked her, called her a hero, said she gave him hope that good people still existed. Sarah wasn't always a data analyst. For 12 years, she was Detective Sarah Kim, specialized in missing persons. She'd solved 847 cases, found 731 people alive. She had a gift. Could see patterns others missed. Could think like both victim and perpetrator. Could find hope in the darkest places. But then came the Richardson case. 8-year-old Emma Richardson disappeared from her backyard. Sarah was sure she'd found the pattern. Sure she knew where Emma was. She was wrong. By the time they found Emma, it was too late. Sarah's miscalculation cost that little girl her life. Sarah attended Emma's funeral, saw the parents' faces, knew she'd failed when it mattered most. She turned in her badge that same day, moved across 3 states, changed careers, changed everything. For 3 years, she's been running from who she used to be. But now, staring at her computer screen, those old instincts are screaming. Sarah starts where the FBI left off. She analyzes employee access logs, cross-references delivery schedules, maps out inconsistencies in security footage. But she has an advantage. She knows David Morrison. She remembers he was a creature of habit, methodical, patient, the kind of man who would plan something for years. She pulls up Morrison's old address. Foreclosed. She checks his employment history. Fired from 3 jobs in 2 years after his daughter's death. Then, she finds something the FBI missed. Morrison's daughter, Katie, died 18 months ago. But the planning started 3 years ago, right after Tech Vision's expansion forced the closure of Mercy General Hospital. Sarah discovers Morrison applied for 17 different jobs at TechVision, all rejected. But he never stopped trying, because he wasn't trying to get hired. He was trying to get access. She traces his movements through traffic cameras. He's been watching the Chen family for months, not just Marcus, Jennifer too, learning their routines, their security protocols, their weaknesses. Sarah maps out Morrison's entire plan. The kidnapping wasn't random, it was surgical. He knew Marcus jogged the same route every day. He knew the security camera maintenance schedule. He knew Jennifer's psychological profile well enough to predict her responses. But there's something else. Something that makes Sarah's blood run cold. The ransom demand isn't about money, it's about suffering. Morrison wants Jennifer to feel what he felt. Helpless, desperate, watching someone she loves slip away. Sarah digs deeper into Katie Morrison's death. What she finds changes everything. Katie didn't die from lack of surgery. She died from a rare complication during surgery. Surgery that happened at Presbyterian Hospital, not Mercy General. Morrison's revenge is based on a lie he told himself. TechVision didn't kill his daughter. Grief did. But grief doesn't care about facts. And Morrison is too far gone to see the truth. Sarah realizes the ransom drop is a trap. The FBI is walking into an ambush. And Marcus? He's not meant to survive this. She traces Morrison's recent purchases. Rope, plastic sheeting, a boat rental from 3 days ago, a boat that hasn't been returned. She has two choices: alert the authorities and risk Marcus's life, or use her old skills to save him herself. At 11:47 p.m., she makes her decision. She's going to do what she swore she'd never do again. She's going to trust her instincts. Sarah arrives at Harbor Bay Marina. Her analysis led her here, to the boat Morrison rented. Slip 47, the same number as the pier and the ransom demand. But the boat isn't here. It's been moved. Sarah checks the marina's GPS tracking system. Every rental boat has one. The signal leads to a small island 12 miles offshore. An island with an abandoned lighthouse. She rents a small motorboat. No backup, no weapons, just her wits and 3 years of suppressed instincts. The island is smaller than a football field. Rocky, isolated, perfect for hiding someone. Sarah approaches quietly. She can see a light in the lighthouse, can hear voices. She's found them. But Morrison isn't alone. He has help. Someone else who lost everything when TechVision expanded. Sarah recognizes the voice. Dr. Patricia Wells, former chief of surgery at Mercy General. Sarah climbs the lighthouse stairs. Each step brings her closer to her past, to the part of herself she tried to bury. Outside, a storm is building. Thunder rumbles. Lightning illuminates the windows. At the top, she finds Marcus, barely conscious but alive. Morrison and Dr. Wells are preparing for something final. But here's what breaks Sarah's heart. Marcus is whispering something. Over and over. Tell Mom good morning, sunshine. Tell her good morning, sunshine. David Morrison, Sarah says, stepping into the light. He turns. For a moment, recognition flickers in his eyes. Detective Kim? But you work at TechVision now. I'm not a detective anymore. Haven't been for 3 years. Morrison raises his gun. This is it. The moment everything could go wrong. You're here to stop me. I'm here to save you. Sarah doesn't fight Morrison. She doesn't overpower him. Instead, she does something unexpected. She listens. For 20 minutes, Morrison tells her about Katie, about the medical bills, about watching his daughter fade away in a hospital bed. But David, Sarah says gently, Katie didn't die at Mercy General. She died at Presbyterian. I looked it up. That's impossible. You were grieving, in shock. The human mind sometimes, it rearranges facts to make sense of senseless loss. Sarah shows him the medical records. Katie Morrison died from a rare surgical complication, not from lack of care, not from TechVision's actions, from an act of medical misfortune that could have happened anywhere. Morrison's entire revenge plot crumbles. His 3 years of planning, his careful orchestration, his justified anger, all based on a grief-distorted memory. Dr. Wells realizes the truth too. She'd lost her job when Mercy General closed, but she'd found work elsewhere. She wasn't a victim. She was an accomplice to kidnapping. Morrison looks at Marcus, then at Sarah, then at the gun in his hand. The storm outside is getting worse. Lightning strikes close enough to shake the lighthouse. What do I do now? I've destroyed everything. My life, my sanity. And now you choose, Sarah says. You can let grief win, or you can honor Katie's memory by doing the right thing. Suddenly, Marcus stirs, his eyes open. He looks directly at Morrison. Sir, I know about Katie. I read about her in the news. I'm sorry for your loss. Morrison's hand shakes. You don't understand. Your family destroyed mine. No, sir. Pain destroyed your family. The same pain that's destroying you right now. In the distance, Coast Guard lights appear through the storm. Sarah had triggered a silent alarm on the boat's GPS system, but the storm is making rescue difficult. The lighthouse is shaking. Windows are cracking. Morrison has 30 seconds to decide, but nature might make the decision for him. Detective Kim, Marcus shouts. The lighthouse, the storm. Sarah realizes it too late. The old lighthouse can't withstand this storm. It's going to collapse. The lighthouse tilts. Stones crash down. The storm has turned deadly. Morrison drops the gun, not because he's surrendering, but because he's reaching for Marcus. Help me get him out, he shouts to Sarah. This is the moment. The man who kidnapped Marcus Chen is now trying to save him. They untie Marcus together. Sarah supports his left side, Morrison his right. Dr. Wells grabs the emergency kit, but the lighthouse is collapsing. The stairs are crumbling. The only way out is a 50-foot drop into storm-churned water. I can't swim, Marcus whispers. Never learned. Morrison looks at him, really looks at him, sees not a symbol of his hatred, but a young man who calls his mother Sunshine. I'll get you out, Morrison says. I promise. It's the first promise he's made since Katie died, and he intends to keep it. Marcus is rushed to the hospital. Hypothermia, dehydration, but alive. Jennifer Chen arrives by helicopter just as the sun rises. She runs through the hospital corridors, still in her pajamas, hair a mess, not caring who sees the most powerful woman in tech completely fall apart. She finds Marcus in the emergency room, wrapped in blankets, but conscious. Mom? I'm here, Sunshine. I'm here. She holds him like she did when he was 5 years old and had nightmares. Like she did when he graduated Stanford. Like she thought she'd never be able to do again. I'm sorry I missed my call, Marcus whispers. Good morning, Sunshine, Jennifer says through tears. Good morning. Outside the room, Sarah watches the reunion. This is why she became a detective. This moment, this love, this hope. Morrison is in custody, but he's not fighting the charges. He asks only one thing: to send a letter to Jennifer Chen. The letter says, I'm sorry, your son is brave. He reminded me what love looks like. Thank you for raising him right. Dr. Wells breaks down completely. She never wanted to hurt anyone. She just wanted her old life back. But now she understands. Some things can't be undone, only forgiven. And Sarah? She's standing apart from the celebration, already planning her return to anonymity. But Jennifer Chen has other plans. The media calls it a miracle. The FBI takes credit for the rescue. Morrison is sentenced to 15 years. Dr. Wells gets 10 with possibility of parole. Jennifer Chen offers Sarah the head of security position, a corner office, a salary that would change her life. Sarah declines. She prefers her quiet desk and data analysis. But now everyone knows the truth. The woman who solves impossible problems isn't always who you expect. Sarah Kim still works at TechVision, still analyzes data, still keeps to herself. But things are different now. People nod when she passes. They know she's not just another data analyst. She's the woman who brought Marcus Chen home. Marcus visits her desk every Friday, brings her coffee, thanks her again. But it's more than gratitude now. "You know what you did that night?" he asks one Friday. "You didn't just save my life. You reminded me what real courage looks like." "You were pretty brave yourself," Sarah says, talking to Morrison like that, showing him compassion instead of hatred. "I learned that from my mom. She always said the strongest people are the ones who choose kindness when they have every reason to choose anger." Jennifer Chen sends Sarah a card every month, not just checking in anymore. The cards say things like, "Thank you for giving me back my sunshine," and "You're part of our family now." And Sarah? She's learning to forgive herself for Emma Richardson, learning that sometimes saving one life can heal old wounds. But the most important thing, Marcus still calls his mother every morning at 8 a.m. "Good morning, sunshine. Ready to conquer the world?" Some traditions are too precious to break. But here's what nobody knows. The night Sarah saved Marcus, she also saved herself. For 3 years, she'd been running from her gift. From the part of herself that could see patterns, solve puzzles, find hope in dark places. That night on the island, she remembered something crucial. She wasn't defined by her one failure. She was defined by her 731 successes. And maybe, just maybe, there were more people out there who needed finding. Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear cardigans and drink coffee from plain white mugs. Sometimes the person who saves the day is the one you barely notice, the one who seems perfectly ordinary. But ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they stop running from who they really are. Sarah Kim solved the case not because she was a detective, but because she never stopped being one. And in saving Marcus Chen, she saved herself. The poster reads, "Have you seen this person?" It's not official. It's from a coworker whose nephew ran away. Sarah looks at it for a long moment. Then she picks up her phone. Some gifts are too important to waste. What would you do if you discovered your coworker had a secret past that could save lives? Would you encourage them to use their gift or respect their choice to stay hidden? Could you keep a double life buried? Or would your true nature eventually surface? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If stories like this about ordinary people doing extraordinary things fascinate you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We dive deep into the most incredible true stories of hidden heroes every week. And if you think you know someone with a secret past, maybe you should pay closer attention. Maybe they're not hiding from their past. Maybe they're waiting for the right moment to use it. Trust me, the truth is always more interesting than fiction. And sometimes, the most important mysteries are solved by the people you least expect. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.